Alright guys, welcome to a new video. Today we're doing another reaction. I know it's kind of lame a bit, but I'm doing just reactions, but I am working on a video. It's just taking longer and I decided why not do some reactions. I'm also gonna do maybe this week I'm also doing a short. I think I'm coming on the short of my YouTube channel. Also I'm getting more content for you guys, at least some type of content. Alright, today we are reacting to The Secret of Riot art style. I mean, some guy figuring out the style. I think we already watched a video from him. I don't know if it's the same person, but he has an interesting video and we're gonna be reacting to it and see my thoughts on it and stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoy. I think you guys enjoyed the last one and we'll do another one for Arcane. Now pretty much the whole one was for Honkai Star. This one is for Riot Games. So pretty much Arcane style. Let's get right into the reaction. Let me get it on the screen. Let's react. I compare. Wait, give me a second, guys. I will do it like this. There we go. You're good now. Sorry about that. I'm not really sure.
This video. After the crazy response on my Arcane fan game, I somehow landed a job at Riot Games. So, how did I get here? In this video, I'll go over just that. The events that led up to it, my experience at Riot, and how I completely rebuilt this scene from Arcane. Because, let's be honest, this wasn't gonna cut it.
Damn.
Most of you probably already know that I put together my own Arcane fan game. It was an FPS set in Zon that let you play as Jinx, built around that signature Fortiche art style. It was a project that I created both as a creative outlet coming off the show, and as a way for me to create a portfolio piece while I was in between jobs. I posted the video, typed this as the description because I thought it was funny, and went to bed without thinking much of it. To my surprise, the video popped off. YouTube, Instagram, Reddit, LinkedIn. Hundreds of you were sharing it and tagging Riot. Someone even wrote an article. Others sent shirtless selfies for some reason. And eventually the video reached some people
That is mad, Loki.
Riot Games, including Mark Merrill, aka co-founder of the company, which was super cool to hear until I realized that this was his first impression of me. Thankfully, I didn't end up on some company blacklist. Instead, Rioters across a bunch of different teams ended up reaching out. I eventually signed with Riot under contract, and it's been really great. Just being able to step onto campus and see the wealth of creativity and passion has been surreal. But more importantly, they give you free Arcane. Truth be told, I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am today without your guys' support. So thank you so much. But there's one glaring problem. You might remember me say, what I made wasn't up to that standard of quality Fortiche or Riot was known for. Which was fine for the time, but now my work is going to be potentially seen by real players with real expectations. And I felt underprepared. So I had to try again.
Kind of sick transition, Loki.
For this attempt, I decided on three things. One was to choose one shot that I could recreate frame for frame. Two was to focus on art over gameplay. And three was to make it in under 2 weeks. Because in exactly 2 weeks, I would be starting my job at Riot. And I needed to know before walking in if I could really live up to my own expectations. For this to work, I wanted to pick a scene that could both fit naturally in a game setting and still be realistic enough for me to pull off. I ended up really falling in love with this scene from Season 1. And using what I learned from my previous videos, I immediately started breaking down how I could potentially remake this in a game engine. First up, the mountains. I used Gaia to generate the landscape. It was a bit tricky because the program isn't really meant for anything stylized, but I managed to get pretty close to the look of the original scene. Two nodes that really helped were distance and recurve. They sharpened up some of the mountain's edges and got rid of a lot of that unnecessary micro detail. After finishing the base, I brought it into Substance Painter to fully repaint it by hand. And since the game doesn't use dynamic time of day, I also painted the mountain's shadow directly onto the texture to lock in that lighting. If you remember the auto material I used in my previous video, it actually has the built-in option to add fake sunlight directly onto the texture, which made baked lighting super easy. It was a technique that I ended up using for a majority of the objects that were far off into the distance. And here's how it looked in game. Next up was the flower field, and honestly, I was dreading this one a bit. I made a few different grass and flower models and then hand painted them in Substance Painter, really trying to match those colors as closely as I could. But I knew right away that good models and textures alone weren't
Really cool.
gonna be enough. You see, the show can get away with a lot by relying on 2D elements, but recreating that look in-game is difficult. Part of it is because I wanted to mimic the show's detail hierarchy. Objects up close are super well rendered, but as we go further back, grass and flowers sort of just fade into loose brushstrokes and flat colors. I knew right away that repeating the exact same flower mesh thousands of times wouldn't match that layered illustrative look from the show on its own. So I did some research trying to find some other ways games do stylized grass, and ended up finding this from J Creations. I really loved how soft and fluffy their grass looked, and the colors stayed nice and flat, which I thought could work really well for my game. And the material is actually fairly simple. There's no shadows, and the grass is actually the same color as the ground, except for the tips. This gradient really makes the transition between the two nice and seamless.
So this is a bit different than what I thought. I thought it'd just be like paintings or arcane or something, but it's more like game style artwork, which honestly is not too bad either way. It's to get the grasp of art because you're learning like different mechanics and different things, and you get the grasp and you like adding texture to stuff which is still art related. So for me, this is still good as a video.
The second color that's layered on top, which sort of gives this shimmer effect.
Also, it's really interesting for
by
what I see.
using a noise texture that pans across the landscape, which can be super apparent when I set the colors to black and white, like this. I took these learnings and implemented them into my own material, and it looked So I hand placed a lot of the plants closest to my lens, which definitely helped, but it needed something else. Though at this point, I already worked on the grass for 4 days, and I started to get worried I wouldn't be able to finish this in time, so I decided to come back to it later. What I thought was really gonna make or break this scene was the fog and clouds. Right off the bat, I knew that this cloud in particular, casting the shadow over top the mountain, was gonna be the most important to nail down. I reused the 2D brushstrokes material that I made for my previous video, and hand painted some fog and cloud textures that I could use both in the middle ground and for the cloud behind the mountain. I tried really hard to make sure that the cloud shadow and the shadow on the mountain were the same color, so that it looks like it's casting a shadow despite never actually doing so. I also made it so that the fog cards fade when the players get close, so you can never really tell that it's just a flat plane. And the cloud in the background is far enough away that the illusion is never broken. But this is when I realized that I could really rely on these 2D planes everywhere. You see, there were a couple of things that I realized that were wrong with my flowers. One was the fact that you could easily tell that they were 3D modeled. And two, I was missing these patches of flowers off into the distance. Mine sort of just disappear if you got far enough away. I ended up using this to my advantage by painting in flower beds and trees that fade into view at a distance. I also mixed in individual hand-painted cards with these 3D models. I made about 50 flower textures of varying detail, and it really helped bring back that hand-painted look out in the distance that I was really looking for. I thought I was finally getting into a decent place, but I really needed to hone in on the details in order to make this as close to the show as possible. So I modeled some trees in SpeedTree using hand-painted textures that I made in Photoshop. Also, shout out to Akbutia on YouTube. She has some amazing tutorials on stylized foliage that are definitely worth checking out. One detail that I missed was this subtle transition from the dark green
Shout out, boys.
light green grass. So I added it into the material that the color would change based on the player's position. I also created these little magic motes, which were actually just a repurposed dust effect. The last step was to refine and color grade my scene, and these were the end results. I finally felt like I did.
Let me pause. Yeah, bro, low-key, he cooks. It looks like literally no wonder you got hired from them. Like, it looks so good. It's insane.
Arcane some justice. And turning that into something playable felt genuinely rewarding. It also helped that I managed to put this together in just under 2 weeks, which definitely...
And that makes it more crazy than anything, bro. In less than 2 weeks, he made a whole thing. That's insane.
Left me feeling a little better prepared heading into Riot.
I think it's not really good.
You know what I can't do in 2 weeks? Upload. Clearly, these videos take a while for me to make, and I would love for you to be here.
Support the guy, bro. Honestly, this video wasn't what I expected it, but it's still really good video. I enjoyed watching it. I would recommend. Pretty much, you guys can check. These are his links. You can check them. I also have a video in the description. So if you guys want to check out his original video, you can do in the description. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you like, and subscribe. Also, I'm gonna put my point of view. I think that ended up looking fantastic. I know one day you got fired. No wonder you got hired by Riot. From what I see, your art style is insane. From what I see, your game looks really good. If you guys want me to react to the actual video where he like explains the game and what he did in the game and how he started the products from the very start, you can subscribe. And if you want the reaction from that, I'm down to do a reaction on that. It's a bit different from what I normally do on a channel where I do mostly like art. I thought he would be more art pieces because it does say in the title that he's doing the art style of Riot, and I thought in my head I was like, he's gonna do some paintings or something, or like some type of art style similar to it. But I think it still ended up being a really good video either way. It still showed a bit of rendering. It still showed a bit of him working on the backgrounds and stuff, and it sounded really interesting and really cool. I think the video was a pretty decent video. I would recommend you to subscribe to the channel. I really liked it, and yeah, I'm gonna do a next reaction soon. I'm also working on a video coming up where I do my own artwork. 2 videos coming up, a short and a long video coming up, or next week, all together slowly through this week. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning into this video. Thank you guys for watching this reaction. I'm obviously going to do more. I like doing reactions. I think it's fun. And I'm also going to do stuff like artworks as well and stuff like that. I also want to do some more lessons in my live stream. I'm going to do some more anatomy studies and stuff on my lessons. I need to practice my drawing heads again, because I feel like I'm really I'm lacking in that front for a while now, and I think we're gonna do some practice on that. We'll see on my live stream. So yeah, thank you guys. Live stream tomorrow. Hope you guys are tuned in. For you guys, it's gonna be on the 18th, and so tomorrow I'll be live streaming. So see you guys there. Bye.